end today's show with the tragic news that Khalif Browder has committed suicide. He was a young New York student who spent 3 years in Rikers Island jail without being convicted of a crime. On Saturday, Khalif took his own life at his home in the Bronx. He was 22 years old. In 2010, when he was just 16, he was sent to Rikers Island without trial on suspicion of stealing a backpack. Earlier this year, the New Yorker obtained explosive video showing the violence to which Khalif was subjected to there. Surveillance camera footage shows him being abused on 2 separate occasions. In one clip from 2012, the teenager is seen inside Rikers Central Punitive Segregation Unit, better known as the Bing. As a guard escorts Khalif to the showers, Khalif appears to speak, and then the guard suddenly, violently hurls him to the floor, although he's already handcuffed. In a separate video clip from 2010, Khalif is attacked by almost a dozen other teenage inmates after he punches a gang member who spat in his face. The other inmates pile onto Khalif and pummel him until guards finally intervene.
Settling trend in the city of Cincinnati tonight. 4 murders in 4 days.
Sunday, a woman shot in Northside. Monday, a man in Evanston killed. Tuesday, another man murdered in Avondale right outside the Boys and Girls Club. And yesterday, a shooting behind a barber shop in Northwest Fairmont.
Now, this doubles the number of murders for all of last December and brings this year's total to 60. What is more disturbing tonight, 55 of the victims were African American. And Newsway's Eric Flack talked to advocates tonight about turning around this trend. Eric, what are they saying?
Well, Sheree, they say that work to curb murder and gun violence in African American communities like this one is going to take a citywide effort.
Did the trauma continue for people of African descent? I need to know. Okay, so now let's do the math. Hundreds of years of trauma, no treatment. Freed, more trauma, no treatment. What do you do the math? Do you think there may be residual impacts of that trauma? Of course there is. It didn't end, friends, and it hasn't ended yet.
Y'all know, tomorrow is daylight savings time, where the clock goes forward an hour. Can we get that? Wait. You brothers be in a circle. Where's the scripture that talks about daylight saving time? Just raise your hand. Don't yell nothing out. One brother knows. 2. Let me hear this young man right here. You Zebulon, what tribe you from? Yeah, you. Benjamin. Okay, wow. Benjamin. Okay, you fooled me. All right, give him the mic. Let me hear.
Benjamin last time.
Shalom leadership.
Shalom.
Daniel 7:25.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Can we read that real quick? Who's reading for me? Leon. Daniel 7:25. This is where you want to go regarding daylight savings time. Springtime, the clock goes ahead an hour, and fall, it goes back an hour. Spring forward an hour, fall back 1 hour. Come on.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
The he is Babylon the Great. The he is the so-called white man. Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
Now he wore us out in slavery. He changed our identity, our culture, our heritage, took it all from us, and gave us a new identity, culture, and heritage. Then it said, and think to change times and laws. So daylight savings time falls into that, as well as New Year's Eve. In case y'all didn't know, the new moon for this month began the new year. Are y'all aware of that? So this is the real new year, when the spring begins. So read on.
And think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Equaling 350 years. So we've gone over that many times, so I'm not going to go spend too much time on that. The next thing in the news is your friend and mine, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Now, what I want to say about Donald Trump, I really have nothing to say. Can you get me Daniel 4, I believe it is 17, if I'm not mistaken, about the decree of the watchers?
Yes. Daniel chapter 4, verse 17.
This is for all you voters out there who voting, looking for someone to guide you in America. This is what God says about the men that are set up. Men or women. Let me be politically correct. Go ahead.
This matter is by the decree of the watchers.
The watchers are the angels. Go ahead.
And the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will.
So God gives it to whomsoever he wills. Go ahead.
And setteth up over it the basest of men.
The lowest men on earth are set up as rulers. Y'all hear that? God, so you're looking for some honorable president. Ain't none of them honorable. The fact that they got lobbyists that fund their campaign should ring, what is that called? A red flag should go up. So you got the LGBT, what is that called? What is it? Lust guarantees a booty tragedy. LGBT, whatever it is. They give you, let's say Deacon Malachi running for president. They give him $5 million to fund his campaign. When he becomes president, who does he owe? Them. He got to fulfill what they want. So all these presidents, you're looking for some honorable person, you got to be insane. You don't know how this country works. Okay? Now, you may say, well, Donald Trump, he's rich. He doesn't have any lobbyists. That's one of his slogans. He does what he wants. Yeah, okay. Do you think they're going to let a madman destroy what they spent? They raped, robbed, and murdered everything here. You think they're going to let some little crazy rich man destroy what they built? No, they're not. Can you give me Daniel 2:40? Wait, before you get that, give me the CNN news clip about his, right here, here you go. Here you go. This has been playing all day, all yesterday about Trump protesters versus supporters. Let's play that. Let's take a look.
Chaotic scene in the latest flashpoint in the Donald Trump campaign to win the White House. A concern for safety Trump's campaigning in Chicago, forcing the GOP frontrunner to call off his campaign rally. What the tough-talking billionaire is saying about it. Here's ABC's David Wright.
Tonight in Chicago, a college campus suddenly erupted. Police and protesters doing battle because political tensions have reached a boiling point. It all started inside the University of Illinois Pavilion, where 10,000 or so people had gathered to see Donald Trump, not all of them Trump supporters. Then an abrupt announcement.
For the safety of all the tens of thousands of people that have gathered in and around the arena, tonight's rally will be postponed until another day. Thank you very much for your attendance, and please go in peace.
Instead, all hell broke loose. The clash continued even as the crowd spilled out onto the streets. Tonight, Trump on MSNBC blamed it on people angry at Washington.
We have a country that's so divided that maybe even you don't understand. I've never seen anything like it.
Then he told CNN he's only seen love at his rallies.
Nobody's been hurt at our rallies.
The tension between Trump lovers and Trump haters has been building for weeks.
Get out of here. Out.
In Fayetteville, North Carolina this week, a demonstrator being escorted out of a rally got sucker punched by a 78-year-old man. John McGraw told Inside Edition he'd be tempted to throw more than an elbow.
The next time we see him, we might have to kill him.
He's now charged with assault and battery, but initially the crowd did nothing to stop him. The protester told ABC affiliate WTVD that he was there peacefully, and aside from protesting, he did nothing to provoke the man.
If it was the other way around, it would have been a different story.
At that same rally, other protesters were attacked by other Trump supporters.
Wow.
The candidate himself has been accused of stoking the anger of his crowds.
We're not allowed to punch back anymore. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks.
Let me tell you something. Now we're going to get to scripture. Let me show you something. Go to Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40 about the last kingdom on earth. Because a lot of y'all want to talk about Kemet. Kemet can't tell you what the Bible reveals. Kemet don't know what's going to happen in this country. Kemet is foolishness. Let me tell you that. What is that? The hieroglyphs? Negroes, not only can they not read it and got to run to the white man and say, can you interpret this for us, Mr. White Man? Yeah. Then what's that dude's name that translated, one of the greatest translators,
Francis Chapolian.
Francis Chapolier. He translated. Now you got Negroes talking about Kemet and a hieroglyph. Stop it. Watch what God says about this last kingdom right here. Go ahead.
Daniel 2 verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
The fourth kingdom, it began with Rome. But now remember, Rome fell and was resurrected from the time of Renaissance. So it's really going into America. Go ahead.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things.
Meaning their iron represents their military might. They took down everybody. Go ahead.
And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron.
The feet and toes represents America, and the toes represent the European Union, what they call the 10 common markets, or NATO. Go ahead.
The kingdom shall be divided.
This kingdom shall be divided. Go ahead.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
There's in this last kingdom, starting with America, followed by the EU, it has the strength of iron. They have the military might to wipe ISIS off the face of the earth if that was their plan, if that was their agenda. But it's not. Go ahead.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
It's going to explain the clay now. Go ahead.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be...
Wait. You know why the toes, the EU, was part of iron? Let me see who's thinking. We went over a class about 2 months ago. Why? I'm digressing for a second. It just popped in my head. Why are the toes part of iron? Oh, Jalil got his hand up. Let me hear him. He never answered a question. I know you're busy back there.
You're over there in the dark. Turn those lights on so we can see you.
Darkness, dark.
Lift it up.
Go ahead. Now I see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, the nuclear capabilities they have, they share it amongst themselves.
Ah, there you go. That's my man right there.
You wouldn't have got that answer if you didn't turn those lights on.
Remember, we went over this about they had a Treaty of Rome. They sat down after World War II and shared during the atomic age, all their nuclear, like Jonathan mentioned about the weapons, they shared all their technology with the European Union. So that way it would hold. There would never be a World War II or III again. That was their plan. So the dark nations, they didn't share that nuclear stuff with. That's why you got Iran, and they want uranium and all that. We want to share in this understanding too. Esau's like, no, we don't want to share this with you.
The agreement was not with you.
Exactly. So read that again, Officer Leon.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and parts of iron.
We're going to get to the miry clay now. Go ahead.
The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
Now it's going to explain why it's going to be broken. Go ahead.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay,
here it comes.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, meaning all nations coming together. Go ahead.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
But they shall not cleave one to another. That what we just witnessed at the Donald Trump rally. You're not going to force with your stupidity nations to come together. It ain't going to happen. I don't care how many signs you hold up, how many lesbians you hold arms with. That's not the prophecy. God says they're not going to cleave together. So to show you that blacks and these lesbians and these feminists do not believe in America's voting, what is that whole system called? Voting system? Whatever it's called. They don't believe it. I'm going to tell you why they don't believe it. Hypothetically, if he's a Democrat I'm a Republican. If you don't like me, what would you do? Anybody get a clue? Come on. Vote. You vote me out. You vote for this guy. That's the way the democratic process works. That whole voting BS, right? But these blacks and lesbians, that LGBT, they don't believe that. That's why they make it their point to go to rallies. Now, it's not like the rally's public on the street. It's inside some type of stadium where you got to, because they have security at the front, you got to sneak in to cause confusion. But I'm like, wait a minute. If you believe that whole voting garbage, why don't you just vote for somebody you like? They don't believe that. This whole thing is right, they have an agenda. They have an agenda, and it's garbage. Can you give me that Lamentations 4:17, please? I thought you don't like somebody, you vote for the next one. They don't know. They say, no, that's not good enough. So they're saying that, not that I'm a Donald Trump guy. I'm not for any of them because they're all base. But if you're going to go into somebody's meeting and cause confusion, you deserve a punch in the face. I'm sorry. Pow! Shoot. That's like somebody walking up in here. Remember what them two, I don't know if they're lesbians, but remember Bernie Sanders, y'all know what I'm talking about? The two girls went up and snatched the mic out of his hand and took over his rally. I'm like, what the hell is this? Give me Lamentations 4:17.
Lamentations 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help.
We have longed for our vain help from America. Go ahead.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
You hear what the Bible says? The Bible says this place can't save us, but we keep hope alive. And we keep getting the short end of the stick. We must turn our sights towards the heavens, towards the one true God, and follow his word. So, let me say this to everyone. Power to the chosen people. Power to the chosen people. That's right. I got that from Molly. I heard the brother sing a song. I said, oh, that's good. That's good right there. Because we are the chosen people. Can we look? I'm going to go over a topic today. It's going to be somewhat controversial. Some of you may relate to it. Those of you who can't, you will in time. It's called suicide, homicide, and genocide. Those are the three things that plague black and Latinos. Suicide, homicide, and genocide. So, I want to look up the definition of suicide first, so we can look that up. I want to look that up. Suicide and how it affects blacks and Latinos. Now, we're going to read about some statistics. Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. Risk factors include mental illness such as depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, personality disorders, alcoholism, or drug abuse. Others are impulsive acts due to stress, such as from financial difficulties, troubles with relationships, or bullying. Those who have previously attempted suicide are at high risk of future attempts. Okay. I'm gonna go through an article, then I'm gonna show you what the Bible says about suicide. Because I always get emails. It's generally from women looking for some man to make them happy. He doesn't make me happy. Or from some effeminate brother. I just want to kill myself. Can we get the article entitled Gone Too Soon? Gone Too Soon. Black males and suicide. Okay. Now, it starts off talking about something that happened in Rikers Island. I wanted this for a reason.
At age 16, despite being given no trial, Khalif Browder was in prison at Rikers Island, where he would spend the next 3 years of his life unjustly incarcerated. He was assaulted multiple times by both officers and inmates and spent significant time restricted to solitary confinement. After his release, news of his experience was told in national magazines and on television talk shows. Khalif Browder was likely traumatized and debilitated by the torture which was inflicted upon him. He took his life almost 2 years to the day after his release from prison. The death of Khalif Browder highlights many social issues often ignored, including suicide among black males. Little is written and even less is said about the prevalence of completed suicide among black males, despite the alarming rates of fatal self-harm completed by black males every year. In order to reduce the frequency of completed suicide, we must understand the factors which contribute to such behavior. Here are 7 facts you need to know about suicide among African American males.
Okay.
Increasing rates. Suicide rates for African American males are increasing and have been for the past 50 years. Research by Ward and Collins revealed that for the past 50 years, suicide rates increased by nearly 30% for black American males. Dying young. The increase in completed suicide among black males is primarily due to the large numbers of young black males engaging in self-harm. Completed suicide is the 3rd largest killer of adolescent black males, with rates continuing to climb. Even more horrifying, the rate of fatal self-harm among black children ages 5 to 11 is on the rise. Our depression is different. Risk factors for black males can look different than traditional markers of mental health concerns. This is important as depression is often seen as the precursor to suicidal behavior. Furthermore, anger, irritability, and engagement in violence can all be unsuspected symptoms of depression. Racism is a murderer. All people of color may experience the underbelly of racial oppression. However, racism is said to be a significant factor in exasperating emotional debilitation in black males. Black males are at greater risk for poor mental health outcomes resulting from racial oppression. Rage, anger, frustration, bitterness, resentment, grief, and despair can all occur over time. These emotions can increase suicidal ideation and are thought to be precursors to mood-related illnesses such as depression. Risk of suicide. Another reason for the increasing rate in completed suicide within this group is because black men are exposed to high rates of every social risk factor of depression and suicide. This includes poverty, unemployment, poor education opportunities, medical disease, lack of health care, and systematic oppression. Moreover, current incarceration and imprisonment increase risk of suicide. Jennifer Gonnerman reported in The New Yorker that Khalif Browder attempted to kill himself several times while in confinement, and once following his release from prison before finally taking his life.
Now, there was an article, I don't know how many of y'all seen it. It wasn't him, but there was a young man, I think you saw it, where they put a leash on the dude's neck in prison. They beat him down. I can't, y'all know what I'm talking about? Who know what I'm talking about? Y'all think I'm crazy here. It was a dude they beat down in Rikers. I think it was it Rikers? And they put a leash on the boy's neck. I'm talking, not the prison guards, I'm talking about the inmates. Beat the hell out of him. He woke up, he had a leash on his neck, and they took a photo. How they get the cell phone, I don't know, but they took a photo of him. And I think it was in a Huffington Post, I believe it was. All right, let's go back. Did we finish this?
Okay. Is that the last one? No one understands? No one understands. Despite climbing rates and mental health concerns fueled by increases in fatal self-harm. Furthermore, these individuals are more likely to be misdiagnosed or disproportionately pathologized when seeking treatment. Some have mentioned that current criteria of depression and anxiety do not match the culturally nuanced manner in which mental health affects black males. In my experience as a clinical psychologist, I have found that men are less likely to report frequent crying or sadness and more often report feeling stressed, angry, or irritable.
And y'all all know men don't like to go in the corner and cry. We don't like to express our emotions the way women wear their emotions on a sleeve. Men generally don't do that. And we tell our sons, don't do that. So this is one of the reasons why young black and Latin men commit suicide. Where were you at, Captain Joshua? Okay. Right there from the failure.
The failure of mental health practitioners to accurately diagnose depression no doubt contributes to reluctance among these individuals to seek treatment. There is hope. Despite the challenges listed above, as a community, we can all play a role in addressing the mental health crisis gripping black males. Social support remains among the most important factors shielding black men from suicidal behavior. African American males who report close family ties, strong romantic relationships, and close friendships are less likely to consider suicide. Additionally, religious conviction and participation in religious activities can also assist in curbing or preventing poor mental health. Reaching out and being responsive, attentive, and present for the black males in your life may provide assistance.
Now, I want y'all see that part where it says religious conviction
Yes,
and
that's what I was looking at.
participation in religious activities can also assist in curbing or preventing poor mental health. You brothers are the first line for our people on the street. You never know who you're going to come across or what problems they are battling with. There have been many times where we have come across sisters who have been raped and or molested by family members, and a brother just happened to be going over Leviticus 18, and that comes out. Brothers that deal with other types of things, like brothers who have been touched by that uncle. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And a lot of times men don't want to acknowledge certain things, but as you as the teacher, listen good to what I'm saying, as you as the teacher, to use the word of the Most High, not to condemn and destroy, but to do what, brothers? Uplift and build. That's what your job is. Where we at? You were reading something, right? Did we finish reading it?
I think there was a few more sentences.
So the name of this article is Gone Too Soon, Black Males and Suicide. So this is this is the last part we had to read?
Yeah, I think so.
Go ahead.
Additionally, religious conviction and participation in religious activities can also assist in curbing or preventing poor mental health. Reaching out and being responsive, attentive, and present for the black males in your life may provide assistance. Most importantly, no one has to be alone in helping friends and loved ones through difficult times. If you are someone you know is struggling, recommending they seek mental health treatment might inspire him to seek treatment. Such feedback can be a lifesaver.
Okay, so now that was it on that article, right? All right. So many times people want to send you to some health professional. Now, we don't recommend you doing that because many of these health professionals have their own mental crises that they're going through. I want to go to the book of Tobit. Let's go to Tobit chapter 3. Start at 7. It mentions her name there.
Verse 7. It came to pass the same day that in Ecbatane, a city of Media, Sarah the daughter of Raguel was also reproached by her father's maids.
So they were mocking her. Go ahead.
Because that she had been married to 7 husbands, whom Asmodeus the evil spirit had killed before they had lain with her. Dost thou not know?
Meaning before the men, the husbands had lain with her. Go ahead.
Dost thou not know, said they, that thou hast strangled thy husbands? Thou hast had already 7 husbands, neither was thou named after any of them.
So she was never able to take on their family name. Go ahead.
Wherefore dost thou beat us for them? If they be dead, go thy ways after them. Let us never see of thee either son or daughter.
So it said, if they be dead, go thy ways after them, meaning go kill yourself. Go ahead.
When she heard these things, she was very sorrowful, so that she thought to have strangled herself. And she said, I am the only daughter of my father.
So now she's thinking about suicide. It says she thought she was getting bullied, because that's what it was. You know what they call that on the internet? Cyberbullying. She was being bullied by everyone, saying, you killed your husband, you strangled them, which she didn't. She didn't do it. Why don't you go kill yourself? Now she's contemplating, maybe I should kill myself. Go ahead.
So that she thought to have strangled herself. And she said, I am the only daughter of my father, and if I do this, it shall be a reproach unto him.
If I kill myself, let me think about what it's going to do to my father first. Go ahead.
And I shall bring his old age with sorrow unto the grave. Then she prayed toward the window and said, Blessed art thou, O Lord my God, and thine holy and glorious name is blessed and honorable forever. Let all thy works praise thee forever. And now, O Lord, I set mine eyes and my face toward thee, and say, Take me out of the earth, that I may hear no more the reproach.
O Lord, kill me. That's what she said. Go ahead.
Thou knowest, Lord, that I am pure from all sin with man, and that I've never polluted my name, nor the name of my father, in the land of my captivity. I am the only daughter of my father, neither hath he any child to be his heir, neither have any near kinsman, nor any son of his alive, to whom I may keep myself for a wife. My 7 husbands are already dead, and why should I live? But if it please not thee that I should die, command some regard to be had of me, and pity taken of me, that I hear no more reproach. So the prayers of them both were heard before the majesty of the great God. And Raphael was sent to heal them both, that is, to scale away the whiteness of Tobit's eyes.
Because he was blind for 8 years. Go ahead.
And to give Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, for a wife to Tobias, the son of Tobit.
So it was already established in the heavens that she had a particular husband to wed. Now the Lord was setting it in motion for her to marry this young man that was on his way. Go ahead.
And to bind Asmodeus, the evil spirit, because she belonged to Tobias by right of inheritance. The self-same time came Tobit home and entered into his house. And Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, came down from her upper chamber.
So Sarah, this young lady, she thought to kill herself. She wanted to commit suicide. She was depressed. Everyone mocked her. Your husbands are dead. You never laid with them. You didn't get none of their names. You know black people. You know how we do. You know how we get down when we mock somebody. So she was feeling anguish. Now, when you read the history of Tobit, it tells you that Tobias had, who knows what that scripture is where it says, he was chosen of thee from the beginning. Who knows what that verse is? Tobit 6 and verse 17. Watch this. And this is for these women. Choose my words right. This is for the woman that sits always, what's that expression they got with women? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And I got a friend like that. I love her dearly. But she used to say that to me and my wife. I'm always a bridesmaid, but never a bride. And she would cry and be upset.
So you mean every time they threw the bouquet,
she run, try to grab it. She knock you down.
Going over her head. She can never grab it. Right?
Watch these big burly women. Boom, boom, boom. They jumping for that bouquet. That was back in the day. This is a long time ago, brothers.
That bouquet business ain't in the Bible, so
That's
don't look
right.
for that in Israel weddings.
You got women right now. I'm gonna throw a bouquet. No.
I ain't seen no bouquet in this one. No, it ain't gonna be none.
You got it for me?
Tobit 6, verse 17. And the devil shall smell it.
So now this is the angel instructing Tobias, the future husband of Sarah, how to exorcise the demon that's plaguing his wife to be Sarah. Go ahead.
And the devil shall smell it, and flee away, and never come again anymore. But when thou shalt come to her, rise up both of you, and pray to God, which is merciful, who will have pity on you and save you. Fear not.
Here it comes.
For she is appointed unto thee from the beginning.
Stop. That right there. She is appointed unto thee from the beginning. So a lot of times, those men that wanted to marry her, those were not for her. Those 7 dudes that the demon put to death, those were not for her. She had a particular husband that God had ordained for him from way back. Now, this might be too deep for y'all. I know most of us in here think like Negroes and Latinos. You can't imagine that God has a particular spouse for you. No, that's too much. Because you've been going through, some sisters have gone through husbands like Skittles.
Bishop was on the road, man.
Not all of them, but some of them.
Y'all see how fast people eat Skittles? So you gotta cut it out, man. You gotta slow down. Skittles.
All right, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 14. Yeah, this is a Twix moment. 2 Maccabees chapter 14 and verse 37. This is another type of suicide that we read about in the Bible. Now, this one here, it may seem somewhat humorous, but it is understandable because it was at a time of war. Come on.
2 Maccabees 14, verse 37. Now was there accused unto Nicanor one Razus.
Nicanor was an Edomite general, a demon. This dude was wicked as hell. Razus was a ruler of the Jews. Go ahead.
One of the elders of Jerusalem, a lover of his countrymen, and a man of very good report, who for his kindness was called a father of the Jews. Mm-hmm. For in the former times, when they mingled not themselves with the Gentiles, he had been accused of Judaism, and did boldly jeopard his body and life with all vehemency for the religion of the Jews.
So you notice where it says he had been accused of Judaism. Remember, we had laws to keep ourselves separate from the Gentiles. But when Antiochus Epiphanes made the decree that we all be one people, we were all supposed to come together. Razus was like, no, I'm not doing that. We're going to keep these laws and stay amongst ourselves. So the people, the Gentiles, was accusing him of Judaism. Go ahead.
So Nicanor, willing to declare the hate that he bare unto the Jews, sent above 500 men of war to take him. For he thought by taking him to do the Jews much hurt.
That's that smite the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter. That's the same point of view. They always had that. That dude seems like the leader. Take him out. We'll hurt the Jews immensely. Go ahead.
Now when the multitude would have taken the tower and violently broken into the outer door and bade that fire should be brought to burn it, he being ready to be taken on every side, fell upon his sword.
So he fell upon his sword. He got the sword and he stabbed himself. You'll never take me alive. One of those type of things. So Razus stabbed himself. Go ahead. Now that's called something else in Japanese culture. Is that Harry Carey, if I'm not mistaken? Harakiri, where they stab themselves and they do the cut. So Razus did that type of thing. Sepulchre? Okay. Go ahead.
Choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, to be abused otherwise than beseemed his noble birth.
Right. Stop. You see what it says? Than to be abused otherwise. Let me tell you how wicked these people are. They would maim you and march you around. Like, remember, how many of y'all saw the movie, not 5 Heartbeats? What's the one where the Edomite? Braveheart. Y'all saw Braveheart? Remember, they had tortured him and they said they wanted him to say something on behalf of the king. And then he yelled out freedom, if I'm not mistaken, if that was the last word.
Right.
Then they cut his head off. But they were torturing him first. And this is what, and you read about that in the book of Kings, because Saul said they would do that. Remember, David went to get Saul's body back because the Philistines was stabbing the body, making mockery, and marching it around as a trophy. So Razus said, well, they're not going to take me like that. I'm going to kill myself. Because remember, it was 500 men against him. 500 to 1. Go ahead.
Choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, to be abused, otherwise then beseemed his noble birth. But missing his stroke through haste.
He missed his stroke, meaning he missed a vital organ. He missed it. Go ahead.
The multitude also rushing within the doors, he ran boldly up to the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them. But they quickly giving back and a space being made, he fell down into the midst of the void place. Nevertheless.
Now, that's some heavy stuff right there. That's some terrible stuff. So they bust through, he stabs himself.
I pictured the whole
They
scene.
bust through the door. Right. He ain't dead. He looks out the window. He sees a group of Edomites down there. He said, I'm going to jump on top of all of them. He jumps out the window. They see him coming. They all move out the way. He goes, plop, right on the ground. Dad. Now let's see what happens after that. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, while there was yet breath within him, being inflamed with anger, he rose up, and though his blood gushed out like spouts of water, and his wounds were grievous, yet he ran through the midst of the throng, and standing upon a steep rock, when as his blood was now quite gone, he plucked out his bowels, and taking them in both his hands, he cast them upon the throng, and calling upon the Lord of life and spirit to restore him those again.
You got to imagine what this is a bloody scene. He's taking out his own guts and throwing them on an Edomite, saying, Lord's going to restore all this to me. Just take, you know how long your intestines is? Like, I believe it's 28 feet, if I ain't mistaken. It's long. He's just taking the stuff and throwing it on Edomites. They ain't going to put this in a movie.
No.
Go ahead.
He cast them upon the throng, and calling upon the Lord of life and spirit to restore him those again, he thus died.
So the brother finally died after that. So that was another type of suicide. Next one is 2 Samuel chapter 17, which we read a few weeks ago. 2 Samuel chapter 17. Start at 22.
2 Samuel 17, verse 22. Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan by the morning light, that there lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan.
All right, let me fill in the space for the history. Y'all got to read this. King David and his mighty men and the people that followed David are in the wilderness. They're on the run from David's son, Absalom, right? It's Absalom. Absalom has a military to overtake and kill his father so that he could sit on the throne. So, Absalom has a counselor, which is, his name is Ahithophel, which was a counselor for David. But David also had another man, I believe his name is, bear with me, not Hussein. Who knows his name? The other counselor. Hushai, thank you, Hushai. David said to Hushai, listen, go to my son Absalom and give him another counsel other than what Ahithophel said. When you read this chapter, it tells you that when Ahithophel spake, it was like the angel of God came and spoke, because this dude was a smart brother. He could figure things. You know how you play chess? You always got that one dude that know what you're about to do 5 steps in advance. He was that type of brother. He knew strategy, Ahithophel. But the Lord had the spirit on, what's his name? Hushai. So Ahithophel says to Absalom, you know your father's in the wilderness. He's weak now. You can take him. Send your soldiers. Your father will be with the people, which he was. He said, and you can kill all of them. Now, which was the right counsel? Because David was tired as hell. But Hushai, what's his name? Hushai, thank you, came and said to Absalom, no. He said, you know your father is a mighty man. And the dudes he rolled with are mighty men. He said, they ain't going to be hanging with the people. They're going to be up somewhere else. And if you try and attack them, they're going to be like a mother trying to protect her cubs. And he's going to slaughter all your men. So Absalom thought, and the spirit had him agree with, what's his name? Hushai. So now, watch what happens in verse 23.
22?
22.
Then David arose, and all the people that were with him, and they passed over Jordan. By the morning, like there lacked not one of them that was not gone over Jordan. And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose and gat him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself and died, and was buried in the sepulchre of his father.
Now that's some ego for you right there. This dude was so ego-driven that if you didn't listen to his counsel, he killed himself, because he had built up such a reputation of being the smartest brother in Israel. You didn't listen to him, I'm going to kill myself. So here's another example of a brother taking his life due to his arrogance. And he probably knew, listen, David's going to come and kill all of us anyway. See what you done did? He probably blamed Absalom. It's your fault I'm killing myself. Somebody leave a note, this is all your fault. You got to watch those spirits. Give me Matthew 27 and 5.
Matthew 27, verse 5. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself.
This was Judas Iscariot. When he realized that his plan to have Christ arrested, the spirit, Satan, you know when Satan have you sin? And after you sin, Satan, he leave you. And now your senses come back and you're like, what did I just do? It's like when you commit adultery with somebody.
The minute the act is done, Satan said, you're on your own now.
There you go. And then that feeling of guilt goes, what the hell did I just do? That's how Satan do you. That's how he do you. And we read about that with, what was her name? Tamar, if I'm not mistaken. David had a stepson who liked his, what's her name? Amnon and Tamar. Where as soon as he loved her, after he had sex with her, he realized he hated her guts. But that's what happened. Your senses come back to you, and you realize what you did was wrong. So that's what happened with Judas Iscariot. And he killed himself. So now, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 30. This is what the scriptures say, because I know not a lot of you, but a lot of us. I'll say that. I'll word it like that so nobody feels like I'm pointing the finger at them. that we feel like there's no way out in this captivity. Nothing goes our way in life. Sirach 30. Let's start at verse 21.
Sirach 30, verse 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness.
Give not over your mind to heaviness, meaning depression. Don't give your mind to depression. Go ahead.
And afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
And don't afflict yourself in your own counsel. You know how them thoughts come in? You ain't, and it's the devil. You ain't SH. You ain't never going to be SH. Why don't you just kill yourself? Your mama dead. Your daddy dead. Your baby dead. You have nothing to live for. You don't even have a job. Just kill yourself. These are the thoughts that come to your mind when you start to examine your life, and your life may not have gotten to the point where you want it to be. And you might be sick on top of all that. That's Satan. That's Satan in your head. Read that again.
Give not over thy mind to heaviness.
That's why another scripture, if y'all know where it is, help me out here, where it says the Lord will keep you in perfect peace. It's in Isaiah, I believe, whose mind is stayed on thee. Where is it? Isaiah 26:3. Real quick, let's get that. Isaiah 26:3. Thank you, Dan.
Isaiah 26, verse 3.
And this is what you need to remember when you feel those thoughts of depression. Come on, you. Go ahead.
Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee.
That's why we always tell y'all, when y'all get up in the morning, try and listen to the classes, okay? First thing in the morning, don't cut on the news. Such and so got killed and ran over by a car at 3. Such and such got beat down and robbed. You filling your mind, your early morning mind, with this junk. How about put on some easy listening music? Let's go there. Then let's put on a class where you can whistle while you work. When I'm at work, I'm listening to a class. That's what I'm doing. And I'm being bored. What you listen to? Nothing. Be typing nothing. I got one earpiece I get and the other one I don't, so I can hear the boss running his damn mouth. But this one I got hooked up to my phone when I'm listening to a class or something. I keep myself laughing at work. That's what you got to do. You're sitting around depressed, dumb family members and friends. You know, just get all the bad news. Stop it. Let's go back now to where we were at. Where were we in?
Sirach 30, verse 21.
Sirach 30. Bear with me a second. In verse 21. Go ahead.
Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
Now that's a commandment. You know, like I'll get up in the morning, I'll look, you brothers, you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you're like, damn. You ain't built the way you used to be when you was 25 years old. You know, when you had that rippling stomach. Some of you, see, you young guys, y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Because you already got a flat stomach. Those of us that's older, you know what I'm talking about, right, Jakim? I know you know what I'm talking about. There you go. Where's Zakai? Zakai, you know what I'm talking about in the back? I know you know what I'm talking about.
Don't worry, y'all going to lose it
I
all.
know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you might not know, really. Not yet, almost, but.
I used to be like them.
So, did we finish that?
That was verse 21.
Read that on.
22. The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
The gladness. What verse you at?
22.
20.
Sirach 30, verse 22.
Okay.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man. That's why, y'all remember this movie that Robin Williams did? Something. He was a surgeon. Patch Adams, where he would work. Was it a cancer? Was a cancer place with kids? It was. Thank you. And he would keep those kids laughing, and that helped prolong their life a little. So a lot of times, the Most High is telling us, read that scripture again.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
That's what the Bible's meant to make us glad. Think on the promises. Think on who you are. We are the chosen race, if you didn't know it. These things are supposed to keep us happy, not sad and depressed. Look what happened on channel. Remember when Princess Diane was killed, and there was a Negro on the ground crying like he was helping her pay rent or something. She ain't do nothing for him, but he was, oh, God, Jesus. Our people is crazy. Our people is saying, what did she ever do for him? Nothing. He just all emotional because she died. So read it again, Officer Leon. What verse is that?
That was verse 22.
Go ahead, read it again.
The gladness of the heart is the life of man.
The gladness of the heart is the people. Why you always laugh? I try to look for the goodness. I gotta keep my, because there's a lot to be depressed about. There's a lot, but I need to find some. I like good brothers around me that like to laugh. We talk about good things and strategy we want to do in the scriptures. I like that. The history. When we talk about history, we be all excited. We don't got time for, when this happened. You ever go home and you from a hard day at work and your wife go, this bill need to be paid and you got to pay this over here and you got to do it. And God, shut up. Give me that scripture about the woman. Give me the scripture in Ecclesiastes 25:1.
Ecclesiasticus 25, verse 20. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
Sisters, sometimes we like quiet. You know how hard it is for an old man to climb up a sandbank? It's hard for him. He ain't 25 no more. So God compares that hard task with a talkative woman. And she ain't talking about nothing joyful. She's depressing the man. Watch verse 23 now.
Verse 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage.
She takes your courage, brothers. Go ahead.
Maketh an heavy countenance.
A heavy countenance means a depressed mind. Go ahead.
And a wounded heart.
Mm-hmm.
A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees.
Now, there's a movie called Pursuit of Happiness. If you young men don't know what I'm talking about, look at the movie with Will Smith called Pursuit of Happiness. The brother, Will Smith, and it's a true story, he would get up 5 in the morning to sell these, were they x-ray machines? Yeah. Heart monitors, something like that. And he wasn't making no money. Nobody was buying. The wife was cursed every morning. You going out again, trying to sell that stuff, just nagging the man. Then finally, she just left the dude, left the brother, and depressed, messed up the family. They got in a fight about the son. Very true story. And the man, what happened at the end? Remember, he got the job. What's his name?
Chris Gardner.
Chris Gardner. True story. He's what? Multi-millionaire now. Tag. She must suck eggs now. She mad. Tag, I had her. I let him get away. Yeah, she depressed the man. He had to sleep in the bathroom with his son. It was sad. But that's what we're read about here, which goes with what we read about. What verse was that back in chapter
30, verse 22. The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days.
The joyfulness of a man. Sisters, y'all can't shout them brothers. We like to have a good time.
1 Esdras chapter 4, verse 29.
1 Esdras chapter 4. Okay.
Yet did I see him and Apame, the king's concubine, the daughter of the admirable Bardicus, sitting at the right hand of the king, and taking the crown from the king's head.
So this woman, who the king loved, he wanted her, she took the crown off his head. How disrespectful is that? Let's see what he does.
And setting it upon her own head.
She took the king's crown and put it on her own. Y'all know how disrespectful that is? And it wasn't in secret and quiet. It was in front of a host of people. That's how Zerubbabel was able to talk about it. Go ahead.
She also struck the king with her left hand.
And let me see. Some of y'all. Some of y'all get hooked with women that like to hit. You ever met women that like to hit? You know what I'm talking about. I hate that. I don't like to be hit. Don't smack me. I don't smack you. Don't smack me. I don't like that. But some of y'all, because you want the punani, you let her smack you. And this is what we're reading about right here. Read that part again.
She also struck the king with her left hand. And yet for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her.
He just gaped and gazed upon her beauty. Go ahead.
With the left hand. Didn't even smack her with the right one. The left hand. That's like a little added more disrespect.
More disrespect. The left. Go ahead.
With open mouth. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also.
See that? If she laughed, then he laughed. He wanted to do whatever he had to do to keep her happy. Go ahead.
But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter.
He would flatter her. Go ahead.
That she might be reconciled to him again.
Just to win her back into his good graces. Was that it?
That's it.
So that's showing you, Zerubbabel was showing you the way, the power women have over men, and how men will do whatever they got to do to please that woman. Now let's go back to where we was at originally.
Sirach 30, verse 23. Love thine own soul.
Now this is for all you depressed souls up in here. The Bible says, love thine own soul. Go ahead.
And comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee.
Remove sorrow far from thee. Go ahead.
Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein.
So God is telling you what sorrow does. Depression will kill you. You let your, that's why when it comes, even with death, I try not to sorrow too much. Somebody in my family died. Like when my mother died, I let my son I said, you got 5 minutes to cry. 5 minutes, go. And that was at the funeral home because I'm meditating on this, okay? Because you let yourself cry, especially if the person is not worthy. That sorrow will take hold of you and destroy your spirit, destroy your soul. Don't fall apart in sorrow over nothing. Read the whole verse again. That verse is heavy.
Love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein.
Go ahead.
Envy and wrath shorten the life.
So not only does sorrow kill you, he comes back and says jealousy, which is envy, and wrath, anger, shorten the life too. Go ahead.
And carefulness.
And worry, careful. I'm worrying about this. I'm worried about that. You know, women do that a lot. They worry about everything under the sun. Men, we will wait to the last minute. And we'll have a good time waiting. But not them. Oh, we got to do this and we got to do that. But that's next month. Yeah, but we got to get prepared for it now. And they're all stressed out. Now the hair's falling out. They're gaining weight. They always got a Twix moment. Eat. I don't know. I'm just gaining weight now. And life is not good. Why is Jesus doing this to me? Babe, you're doing that to yourself. You're doing it to yourself. Stop it. Go ahead.
Envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness.
And that envy shorten the life goes back to, I think you was talking about keeping up with the Joneses. Yeah. She looking out the window, looking what her girlfriend Susanna got. Oh, look at the car she got. But you got a jalopy. Oh, look at those new shoes she got. Meanwhile, you got run over shoes. Look at the school their kids go to. Their kids go to private school. Yours go to public school. You on the bus. So she's always, I'm not saying no men does it, but most men, we tend not to do that. Women do. They compare themselves with every other woman around them, and that spirit of envy comes in. Read verse 24 again.
Envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness bringeth age before the time.
That's why some women be 30 years old, look 65. They just worry. It brings age. That's why they're always in the mirror with the creams. Oh, I got to make myself look younger. Why?
25.
Go ahead.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
You might ask yourself, what does that verse have to do with what we read above? It has everything to do with it. What do most women do when they get sad, depressed, envious, or angry? Eat. Now, let's go to 2 Esdras chapter 7. 2 Esdras chapter 7 and verse 6. Watch this.
The book of 2 Esdras chapter 7 and verse 6.
Now the question is, is it okay if I kill myself? And just because I'm sad, just because I'm depressed, is that okay with God? The answer is no. This is going to explain why here.
2 Esdras 7 and 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water.
So the angel is explaining to Esdras. He said, this is how the Israelite life is. Imagine a kingdom, the kingdom of heaven set on a hill. And in order to get there, there's a narrow path so that only one person could walk at a time. One side is water, one side is fire. Go ahead.
And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance.
This is the kingdom of heaven given as an inheritance for the Israelites. That's what he's talking about. Go ahead.
If he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
There's your answer right there. If you in your mind, you are so depressed, so sorrowful, you say to yourself, I'm just going to kill myself. I can't go through that trouble because the fire and water represents the trouble in your life. If you say to yourself, I'm not going through that, then you're not going to get the kingdom. That's what the angel is saying to him. Read on.
And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion.
That is Israel's portion. Being in captivity, we have to endure whatever trials and tribulations come across us. Go ahead.
Because for their sakes I made the world.
So the world was not made for everybody. The world was only made for the Israelites' sake. Go ahead.
And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail.
Y'all see that? This world was made narrow, full of sorrow. So we're all going to have sorrow in our life. Don't think you're going to escape sorrow. The remedy, the recipe, or the formula to overcome it, we've read. Joyfulness, gladness of the heart, meditating upon the word. That's how you overcome it.
Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. There are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit.
Going back to the history of Adam and Eve. Back then, we had to do very little to inherit immortality. But because of Adam's sin, God said, nope, I'm going to make it troublesome for his seed, which is the Israelites, to inherit the kingdom. Go ahead.
If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things.
If then they that live labor not to enter these straight, meaning narrow or difficult, go ahead.
And vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them.
That's the answer right there. So if you are so depressed, you say, you know what, I'm just going to kill myself. He says you're not going to get the kingdom. That's what he's saying. Meaning because you're going to keep coming back. You ain't going to escape that. You will come back. And by the end, if this dude, all he do is kill himself. He never went through nothing that I put before him. He cannot inherit the kingdom. He or she cannot inherit the kingdom. Everybody understand that? All right, for all you suicide thinkers out there, keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about the next thing that plagues blacks and Latinos. It's called homicide. Can we look that word up, homicide? Okay, I'll read it. Homicide, the deliberate and unlawful killing of one person by another. Murder, he was charged with homicide. The police department that deals with murders. Now, homicide, detective from homicide, a murderer. Okay, so homicide refers to the taking of life from another. Let's read the next article. It's called 5 Devastating Facts About Black on Black Crime. Okay, so I wanted this article because many times when we think about homicide, we often want to talk about white cops killing black youth. I came across this article which was published last year. So as I read it, it has a lot of information in it, and I thought it would be pertinent for us today. Go ahead.
The mainstream American media is again happily hitting the Black Lives Matter crack pipe in its pernicious pursuit of high ratings. These bloodlusting junkies were nowhere to be found when haunting predictably Chicago News headline after headline detailed the carnage that has consumed dozens of communities in the city where black men kill each other with terrifying regularity.
So they're talking about black men killing each other with terrifying regularity, meaning it's a regular thing. Go ahead.
Where were these Black Lives Matter protesters after the slaying of Chicago's little Tyshawn Lee? The 9-year-old lured into an alley and shot to death by a black man seeking gang-related vengeance against his father.
Now that's what we discussed a few weeks ago about the drug dealer that lured the little boy into the alley, killed him. But you don't hear nothing from Black Lives Matter, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. They don't say nothing. Go ahead.
Did little Tyshawn's murder at the hands of a black gangster an all too common occurrence in Chicago not warrant wall-to-wall news coverage or Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson style calls for justice? No. Why? Because the ugly truth behind Black Lives Matters is that black people killing other black people does nothing to advance its political power in the same way that one white cop killing a black criminal can.
Now that part right there, it says because the ugly truth behind Black Lives Matter is that black people killing other black people does nothing to advance its political power in the same way that one white cop killing a black criminal can. What's interesting about that is y'all realize that Al Sharpton has he's on MSNBC, I believe, and he has a news section. All that was given to him as a result of him constantly hyping on whites killing blacks. So they made this deal with him. So now he got where he wanted to be. Now you don't hear nothing from Al Sharpton no more. Jesse Jackson, we're going to talk about him later on, but watch. Read on.
Despite the media's overindulgence on white cops killing blacks, there is still a far larger amount of black bodies being sent to morgues by black killers.
Pause. Notice that sentence. Despite the media's overindulgence on white cops killing blacks, notice the word overindulgence, there is still a far larger amount of black bodies being sent to morgues by black killers. You really don't see that on the news at all, unless you watch the first 48. Then you see it there. But on the media, generally, you don't. Go ahead.
Here's 5 devastating facts liberals can't deny that prove it. Fact number 1.
Let's pull up so we can read the whole thing. Go ahead. Fact 1.
Fact number 1. Over 1,400 more black Americans murdered other blacks in 2 years than were lynched from 1882 to 1968.
Wow. Y'all see the stats on that? Over 1,400 more black Americans murdered other blacks in 2 years than were lynched from 1882 to 1960. That was recorded. Go ahead.
According to FBI data, 4,906 black people murdered other blacks in 2010 and 2011. That is 1,460 more black Americans killed by other blacks in 2 years than were lynched from 1882 to 1968, according to the Tuskegee Institute. Fact number 2. Black people, mostly men, commit a grossly disproportionate amount of crime. In 2012, white males were 38% of the population and committed 4,582 murders. That same year, black males were just 6.6% of the population, but committed a staggering 5,531 murders.
Can I say something real quick? I'm thinking about those statistics that you just read earlier, and I know people say you always have to be careful with statistics, but facts are the facts. You can basically see what this is saying. I'm just picturing it in my mind like the sensationalism that goes along with everyone going after the white cop killing our brothers. And it's, if you can picture it in your mind, it is like, here we are running to get out there to protest the white cop doing something, and we step over 100 black bodies that were murdered by our brothers just so we can get on the front lines and protest against this one white cop. Y'all follow what I'm saying? We've disregarded 100 bodies that were murdered by our own brothers to get up there on the platform to speak about one white cop killing us.
Go ahead.
In other words, black people at just a fifth of the size committed almost 1,000 more murders than their white counterparts. The figures above highlight a horrific truth that black racialists and white liberals routinely ignore. Law-breaking black Americans, young black males particularly, put themselves in close proximity to mostly white male police officers at a rate sometimes 5 to 10 times higher than whites. This is a recipe for disaster. Thusly, fact number 3. Despite making up just 13% of the population, blacks committed half of homicides in the United States for nearly 30 years. Department of Justice statistics show, DOJ, Department of Justice statistics show that between 1980 and 2008, black people committed 52% of homicides. In 2013, black criminals committed 38% of the murders. Whites accounted for just 31%. There are 5 times fewer black people than white people in America, and yet they consistently carry out a larger share of the crimes. Given this rate, it's no wonder that there aren't more assistances where cops kill black criminals. Fact number 4. Chicago's death toll is almost equal to that of both wars in Iraq and Afghanistan combined.
Now, if you didn't know nothing else about the statistics, you know number 4 has been a big thing. Even Spike Lee did a movie called Chirac and was talking about the death toll in Chicago alone. Go ahead.
There have been almost as many deaths in one American city as there have been in the 2 major wars carried out by the U.S. military this century. Chicago's death tolls from 2001. November 26, 2015 stands at 7,401. The combined total deaths during Operation Iraqi Freedom 2003 to 2015, 4,815. And Operation Enduring Freedom / Afghanistan from 2001 to 2015, 3,506. Total 8,321.
So y'all got to see the disproportionate way that black people kill, and we all know it, but we like to try to ignore it.
Fact number 5. It would take cops 40 years to kill as many black men as have died at the hands of other black men in 2012 alone.
Now that's some heavy stuff right there. I got to read it again. It would take cops 40 years to kill as many black men as have died at the hands of other black men in 2012 alone. In 1 year.
It'll take 40 years of police killing our brothers to equal the amount of death that we cause each other in 1 year.
So he's saying from now, go back from 2015, go back 40 years with cops killing blacks, it would equal 1 year of what blacks did to each other in 2012 alone.
So again, why is it that the 1 year, all of the murder that happened in 1 year, how come none of that makes the news? That's the point. And the reason why is because we give an excuse to ourselves by saying, well, it's because we're mentally crazy, we're disproportionately this, we make excuses for the killing of each other. Y'all getting it now? I'm trying to bring it more so I can relate it. Do y'all really see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I add something to what he said, Bishop? Y'all got to look at the excuses they give. They say it's because of the single-parent households. The mothers are raising the kids by themselves. They don't have no education. They can't find no jobs.
Thank you.
They don't have. And then look at the solutions they bring to the table. It's always open a community center, throw more money at the problem when it's a morality issue. Our people have no morals. The only thing that's going to fix the issue is thou shalt not kill. The laws of God is what's going to fix the issue. But when you look at the people that they're putting to be the spokesman, it's always open a community center, open more basketball grounds. Oh, the kids are cooped up in the house, they hot, they need to go outside and play. That's not the issue. You got demons that you want to put in an arena where you spend your money. It's a waste of money, first of all. I would not create more parks. Okay? What you need to do is what we're doing. We're instilling morality. Our people have no morals. They're undisciplined. They're ignorant to God. They're ignorant to what love is amongst each other. They don't have the commandments. So they go behind the excuses, because when you listen to these black shows or the great thinkers of black people, they all say the same thing. They go up there and they speak and they speak and they speak and they point out the situation with no solutions. No black leader has ever come up with a solution.
I hope y'all understand that. Now, we didn't finish fact 5. Can we finish this?
Fact number 5 again. It would take cops 40 years to kill as many black men as have died at the hands of other black men in 2012 alone. University of Toledo criminologist Dr. Richard R. Johnson examined the latest crime data from the FBI's supplementary homicide reports and Centers for Disease Control and found that an average of 4,472 black men were killed by other black men annually between January 1st, 2009 and December 31st, 2012.
So that means every year, 4,472 black men are killed by other black men every year. That's the equivalent of the stats. Read on, Captain.
Professor Johnson's research further concluded that 112 black men died from both justified and unjustified police-involved killings annually during this same period.
So look at the stats. So during the same period, okay, it said blacks died at the hands of whites. 112 black men died annually. He said if you equal it all out, 112 black men died from justifiable meaning you running at the cops going bam, 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 and the cops shoot back and you die. And unjustified meaning like when that cop shot that boy who had the knife and was walking away. Y'all remember that in the news? That's unjustified. He put the whole clip in him. That's unjustified. Or the cop that ran into the house in Brooklyn and bust the brother up, saying he had a weapon, he didn't have no weapon.
Grimaldi Graham,
right. Bronx. That's unjustified. So he says, Professor Johnson's research further concluded that 112 black men died from both justified and unjustified police-involved killings annually during the same period. So that's, when you equal it up, look at it, it says 4,472 black men killed other black men during the same period. So when you look at it, 4,472 and 112. Both is bad. We're not saying any of them is good, but give me the words. The point that the writer is making is how come there's nobody speaking up against black on black crime? Do you understand the point? Okay, now let's hit the scriptures. Get me, Officer Leon, Genesis 4, verse 8. We're going to talk about murder, homicide. Genesis 4 and 8. Let's start with began. Come on.
Genesis 4, verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
That spirit that was in Cain, that jealous, envious spirit, because it tells you he was jealous over his brother Abel. It said God had accepted Abel's sacrifice, but he did not accept Cain's. Abel sacrificed sheep and goats, and Cain sacrificed lettuce and cabbage. And God got mad. So what the hell is this lettuce and cabbage stuff? I'd say, I want a blood sacrifice. This dude come with...
Bring me a bush.
Yeah, bring a bush. So then when God asked him, where's Abel, your brother? He said, am I my brother's keeper? That spirit, what I want you to understand, that same spirit that was in Cain is in the black and Latin community today. Read that question again that he says to the Lord.
Am I my brother's keeper?
That is the mentality of blacks and Latinos today. Am I my brother's keeper? In other words, I ain't over him. To hell with him. You know, that same spirit. Watch this. Go to Genesis 9 and 6.
Well, it said, I'm not my brother's keeper, but white America is my brother's keeper.
Right, exactly. The white man is meant to watch over my brother, but we are not meant to watch over our brothers.
I kill my other brother, it gets no attention. But when you kill him, Daddy, when you kill him, then I got a problem.
Exactly. Watch this, what the Lord said.
Genesis 9, verse 6. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man.
That is a divine principle throughout the earth. It says, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. That's why you see certain brothers and recently more sisters dying at the hands of others. And you and I may think that person is innocent. Sometimes they're not innocent. When the scriptures say nobody ever died being innocent, some of them are dying because they have been guilty of killing others in the past and thought they got away with it. Everybody understand that? Nobody gets away with nothing. Get Leviticus 24:17. Leviticus 24 and verse 17.
Leviticus 24, verse 17. And he that killeth any man shall, and he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death.
So that principle carried from Genesis all the way to the time of Moses. Many times people say there was no law before Moses. There was law before Moses. Oh, ignorant one. You think when the Bible says God breathed into Adam the breath of life, it was more than just, it meant he gave him divine laws too. That Adam's job was to teach the people, okay? That's why when Cain killed Abel, go back there. Go back to where Cain killed Abel. This is why he said what he said. Genesis
4.
Start at 13. Listen good to what Cain says.
Genesis 4, verse 13. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid.
Yeah, he got plagued with leprosy. Go ahead.
And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
Here it comes.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
Why? That there's two things. There's who and why, but I want to deal with the why first. Yeah. My question is why?
The why is because he has just slain his brother. He committed murder.
You're on it.
Yes, so the law says if you kill, God will get you. You'll die in return.
Exactly. Because Cain already knew the law. Cain already knew if you kill somebody, the law is by man shall you be put to death. How did Cain know that? Adam had to have taught him that law. And that also proves there was more than just Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. He said, whoso findeth me, letting you know, all you Christians up in here, there was more people on the earth than just Adam and Eve.
Right. Who's going to kill him?
So you got these Kemetic community, dumb as hell, who say, oh yeah, Moses copied the 110 negative confession garbage from Ma'at. Listen, you dummy. Their laws was from the time of Adam. You don't know the Bible, but you chat, chitty chat, and Negroes, ooh, yo, Kemet is deep. No, they're not deep. They're dumb as hell.
I mean, Kermit is deep.
Yeah, Kermit. The Kermit
I made a
community.
mistake last time when I was teaching, and I said a Kermitic Israelite community, and the brothers had to come. And I said, "What? Did I say that?" And I listened to the tape and said, "Yeah, I called him Kermit."
That's it, Kermit.
And I said I had frogs on my mind.
So can y'all see the laws there was laws before Moses? Do y'all see it? Yes, okay. Now from there, get me Matthew 5:21. So what we read was law of sacrifice. We read the law of murder. Morality, right. Now, Matthew 5:21, please.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 21. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill.
That is in the 10 Commandments, meaning thou shalt not murder. Read on.
And whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment.
Right, because you're going to get put to death. The judgment is you kill, you get put to death. Go ahead.
But I say unto you.
All I want is that one verse.
Okay.
No, read the next one. Let me hear.
Verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause.
Wait. Where is he based? Where can we guess that he's basing this on? If you're angry with your brother without a cause. Yes. Cain and Abel. It's going right back without a cause. Abel did nothing to Cain. Cain was jealous and envious. Go ahead.
But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
Right, because that's the road to destruction. You're walking that path that Cain walked. Watch this. First,
you want to read the rest of it?
Okay, go ahead. Finish it.
And whosoever shall say to his brother Rakah shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire.
You know how people play the dozens? We like to say things that hurt other people's feelings, okay? It says it goes from council to, what was it? After the council goes to where?
Hellfire.
Hellfire, meaning there's steps. Because you're supposed to be corrected first. You keep doing it because it's a spirit of hatred. Then it's going to lead to destruction. 1 John chapter 3, verse 15. Now, what we just read, what we're reading these are things we must, listen to you brothers that are teaching and you up and coming teachers. I saw some of y'all was in Newark, in Jersey yesterday, right? Newark ain't no nice little city in Jersey. Negroes go crazy in Newark. So the basic things we're reading here has never been taught to them. So it's our job to teach these things. Come on, Leon.
1 John 3:15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
Be right, because people, men and women, say, I never killed nobody. But the Bible says if you so much as hate your brother, you are a murderer. Go ahead.
And ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in them.
That's the same thing Christ was saying in Matthew 5, verse 21. Now get Deuteronomy 19:11. And what I'm showing you, Christ taught the commandments. I don't know where people get this thought that Christ made his own doctrine. Everything Christ said was based upon the law. Come on.
Deuteronomy 19, verse 11. But if any man hate his neighbor and lie in wait for him and rise up against him and smite him mortally that he die, and fleeth into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die.
Now, this law was heavy. There was 2 laws for murder. One law was accidental, and one was presumptuous. The accidental law you had to run. Let's say, you gave an example. You're in the field with an axe, and an axe handle flies off and go whoosh into your brother's head. You had to run to the city of refuge, and if you got into the city of refuge, you had to stay there until the high priest died. You had to stay in that city. You couldn't leave that city because the avenger of blood is your next of kin. Meaning, you killed my brother, I'm the next of kin. My duty is to kill you. So I would chase you behind. You get to the city of refuge before I could get there. I can't touch you now. But if you step out of the confines of that city, you would get it. But now what we read in Deuteronomy 19 and 11, this is not an accidental death. This says, if any man hate his brother, his neighbor, and lie in wait for him. You know what it is? You scheming on a Negro. I don't like that dude right there. And you plotting. It says you lie in wait for him and rise up against him and smite him mortally that he die. And then after you do it, you run to the city. It says, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him to get the nigga out of there. He did that on purpose. He lied in wait for him. Now he think he's slick. Run into the city of refuge, drag him out, and bring him to the avenger of blood.
See, once that word, the whole thought behind that whole setup was, if you knew that you had did this thing presumptuously, you wouldn't even run to the city. So in your mind, you said, well, I better not even do this thing, because if I even go to the city, they're going to throw me right back out there and let me get torn up.
Exactly. John 7:19. John 7:19 and 20.
The book of John, chapter 7, verse 19. Did not Moses give you the law, and yet none of you keepeth the law?
Now, he was talking to a group of Israelites, Pharisees and them, that said they believe in Moses. He said, Moses gave you the law, but none of you keep the law. Go ahead.
Why go ye about to kill me?
Why are you going about to try to kill me? This is what Christ is saying to the quote-unquote Old Testament Israelites that claim they believe in Moses. Was that verse 20?
No. Verse 20. The people answered and said, thou hast a devil. Who goeth about to kill thee?
See what they said to Christ? You got a devil on you. Who ain't nobody trying to kill you? Not realizing that Christ knew their spirit. He saw the hatred and the anger within them. Watch John 8. Jump over the next chapter. John 8:37 to 44.
John 8:37. I know.
Now, what I want y'all to see with this, the same spirit that was in the Pharisees, that spirit of hatred, is in the Kermatic Israelite community today. That same hatred spirit is in Israelites today. Watch.
Verse 37. I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word hath no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and ye do that which ye have seen with your father. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Jesus saith unto him, if ye were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham.
Right, the only thing that makes you Abraham's children, if you do the works Abraham did. Go ahead.
But now ye seek to kill me.
But you seek to kill me. Go ahead.
A man that hath told you the truth, which I have heard of God, this did not Abraham. ye do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. Jesus saith unto them, if God were your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. Ye are of your father, the devil.
Uh-oh.
And the lust.
Ye are of your father, the devil. Watch what he says.
And the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning.
So who is Christ saying their daddy is? Cain. He said, you walk in the path of Cain. All that hatred you got all up in y'all, he said, you're doing the same thing Cain did. That's the same spirit in many Israelite camps today. Cut on the video. You'll hear the hatred.
Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
Go ahead.
And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not.
So this is why there's a lot of anger when we teach the word of the Most High, in sincerity and in truth. We're not teaching to condemn anybody. Our prayer is that all Israel repent and keep these commandments. Okay? From there, get me John 16, verse 2.
John 16, verse 2. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God service.
Now, Christ was prophesying particularly about an individual. Let me see who knows who he's particularly prophesying against. Let me hear this young man on my left. Yeah, you.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Stephen?
No, Stephen didn't put nobody to death.
Oh, Paul?
Yes. Whose name originally was Saul, later became Paul. He really thought he was doing God's will by executing the disciples of Christ. Not just him, you had many others. Men that took oaths that they would not eat for until they have killed Paul. They fasted until they would kill Paul. So you had the spirit of hate, the same spirit of hatred and anger and jealousy you read about in the Bible. What I want y'all to understand is in the Israelite community today. Don't sleep and think. I used to think all Israel was righteous.
Bishop, you made a heavy, heavy point. The analogy that he gives between Cain and Abel. Can we just go back to read that story for a minute? And you're going to find more. When you read the scriptures and the Most High reveals more things to you based on what the bishop is saying. Because there's arguments that the law was stolen and we never had a law. Okay? And the bishop is showing you how not only there was a law, but the hatred started back from the very beginning with the first men of righteousness. Go back to Genesis chapter 4, verse 3.
Genesis 4, verse 3. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord.
So laws were being kept where offering had to be brought. Someone told them that they had to keep a law. Read on.
And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock.
The what?
The firstlings of his flock.
Guess where that's written? Where's that written? To bring the firstling of your flock. In the law of Moses. Did not the book of Malachi, the Most High got on the priests? Because they were not bringing the firstlings of the... So where did they get this from? Because there was a law. There was already a law in place from the time of Adam and Eve. Why would he know to bring the firstling of the flock? Read on.
And the Lord had respect.
No, I'm sorry. Go back to 4.
And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof.
That's in the law, and the fat thereof, to burn it as an offering. Okay, when you read in the law of Moses and when the Most High was getting on the Levites in the book of Malachi. So there was a law. Read on.
And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
Because he was doing the right thing according to the priesthood. Read on.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
That's how the Most High deals with the camps. He's going to respect the ones keeping the commandments, and he's not going to pay any attention to the ones who are not keeping the commandments. So I'm showing you how this goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Read on.
And Cain was very wroth and his countenance fell.
Y'all got to look at why he was mad. Because he didn't want to keep the commandments. He had an air of being a man of God or going through the motions as Israelite that we call ourselves today, even though Israel wasn't a nation back then. But inside of him, there was a war to do what God wanted. The same way you see with men now. Read on.
And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth?
Why are you mad? Why are you mad, Cain? And the reason why he's mad is because exactly what the bishop said. Read on.
And why is thy countenance fallen?
His face was fixed like, damn, why I got to do this? Which is exactly how you see, because people always say, which camp should I follow? You follow whoever's keeping the law, not who sound good. Read on.
If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted?
The same thing with us. That's why we went on slave ships in captivity. Because we did not set the blueprint that the Most High gave to us from Adam and Eve to do good, so we'll be accepted by the Most High. Read on.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
We're going to continue in sin. Now watch this. Read on.
And unto thee shall be his desire.
That's what you're going to have on your mind all the time. All you're going to be thinking about is sin, 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 sin. That's why there's so many discrepancies among the Israelite camps. You got some doing well, and some want to teach with their head covered. Some don't want to wear fringes. Some want to barbecue on the Sabbath. Some want to promote that you can sleep with prostitutes. Some want to tell you can deal with white women. It's the same thing going on with Adam and Eve during Cain and Abel. Read on.
And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
So some of these leaders, their desire is to walk in sin. Read on.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
So that proves what the bishop said is correct. He didn't come out and say, I want to kill you. It's in dialogue. As he watched this just man, being how he was supposed to be according to the commandments, he said, I can't take it no more, and killed him. Did that not happen to Christ? You had the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, and the lawyers with the law. Then Christ stepped on the scene, and then they decide, look, we got to kill this nigga. He's talking, and everybody's believing on him. So the bishop made a good analogy to show you that the mindset of the people today have not changed since Cain and Abel. You have men that are speaking, that are watching, just men that hate them. And when the opportunity arrives, they will kill them. Just listen to their speech.
I hope y'all understand that. It's a heavy point. So now, go to Proverbs chapter 1. Heavy point. So what we read earlier in the news article about black on black violence, a lot of times people like to say the Bible is irrelevant for today. Like what Deacon Asaph just went over. They say, oh, well, that was back then. That has nothing to do with us today. I'm going to show you how relevant it is. Now, the examples he gave was excellent, but sometimes our people are so carnal they can't connect with it. So now let's bring it home. We read the article about black on black violence. Give me Proverbs 1. Let's start at verse 10.
Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 10.
This is for you, kid. Like you make the victimized statement. Well, my son is a murderer and a thief because he got no daddy. And me as the mother have to work, so he's home by himself. Now he looks for, what do they call it?
An outlet.
An outlet,
okay.
Right. So now, this is where you go, brothers. Proverbs 1 and 10. Come on.
My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause.
What does that sound like today, brothers? Who sits around and says, yo, chill with us. Yo, chill with us, and let's lay wait for blood? Who does that today? Gang members, particularly. Gang members. Go ahead.
Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance.
We gonna get paid, G. Go ahead.
We shall fill our houses with spoil.
Go ahead.
Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse.
Y'all see that? So you go, you do some evil over there. You go do some evil. At the end, let's come together and let's all have one purse. And we can divide what we all stole during the day. What we're reading here is gang initiation. That's verse 10.
That's right.
My son, if sinners entice thee.
That's right.
You men got to understand and see what we're reading here. The Bible is very relevant. You're not going to read this in the hieroglyphs of Egypt.
Or the negative confessions.
Or the negative confessions of Ma'at.
Of Ma'at. Bishop, here it is in the law of Moses. Go to Exodus 22, verse 2.
Oh, 23 and 2?
Yes. What you just said in Proverbs that Solomon wrote, it was already, we're showing you how these laws have been in place since the dawn of time.
Exactly.
Okay? Exodus 23, verse 2.
Exodus 23, verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil.
And that's what gangs get you to do. They initiate you in the gang, and then they tell you, go kill for us, go rob for us. If anything happened to you, we got your back.
Exactly.
Read on.
Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment.
Not to follow the laws of the Most High, to break the laws of the land, because they believe that it's necessary for their survival.
That's why it's very important for you brothers on the street. Learn this book. Teach. There's so much more in here than the white man is the devil.
Exactly.
Much more. There's medicine here to help all the ills of our people. Read.
For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird.
Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. There are traps set out here for you, brothers. For example, poverty is a socialized trap. Keep a particular group of people poor. What are they going to do? Rob. A lot of times you might run up on the wrong brother, and you're going to have to kill him or he's going to kill you.
That's right.
At the end of the day, if you win, you go where? Jail. It's a trap. That's why it says, surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. Go ahead.
And they lay wait for their own blood.
The blood of their own people. Go ahead.
They lurk privily for their own lives.
Right. So they're not robbing and stealing from white folks. No, they look for the man, the black woman. That's who they hunt.
That's right.
We hunt ourselves.
And then we make excuses for when we rob each other, when we kill each other.
Exactly.
We don't allow. It's okay. Put it in.
You know
don't even talk about it,
Bishop. Where it says not to follow a multitude to do evil, and what did it say in Proverbs?
My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Say that again.
My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
Now, some of you don't know about this. I'm talking to the older generation. Remember when your mama, when she was in the house, so your father would tell you, I want you in the house before the street lights come on. Mm-hmm. I want you to come straight home after school. Okay, I don't want you hanging with that crowd. That's from the scriptures. Yep. Because how did we get into, I know when I got into trouble, it's when my parents split up. Okay, there was nobody to watch me no more. So I took to the streets. It wasn't because of the statistics and the environment around me. If I would have just followed what the scripture said, I would have been fine. Because all the kids who their parents did not let them run the streets, they went on, they got degrees, they became successful with business, and they didn't get in no problem, no criminal record. But the scriptures is explaining you the healing, the way that you heal your people. You keep them away from sinners. And that's what the bishop is trying to tell you. The answers to fix the problems in the community. You ever heard the saying, one bad apple spoiled a whole bunch? Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, we knew who the bad guys were. Right. You knew that's Tyrone. He got a gun. Word, he got a gun. Or he got a knife. Or he could fight. I didn't know that until I got old enough to be in the presence of them, and they led me away to do evil. Mm-hmm. So the scriptures is 100% in the medicine that you need to stop the problems, not create a basketball game.
Exactly. Right. Verse 19.
Verse 19. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain.
So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain. Go ahead.
Which taketh away the life of the owners thereof.
So the Bible, brothers and sisters, has all the answers. All of them. Give me Micah 2 and 8. Micah chapter 2, verse 8. Y'all think crime just started here in America without people. No, it didn't start. Well, we read in Proverbs, that's not in America. We was doing wickedness. That's why we went in slavery.
That's right.
Watch Micah 2, verse 8.
Micah 2 and 8. Even of late, my people is risen up as an enemy. Ye pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by, securely as men averse from war.
We robbed our fellow Israelite brothers and sisters, robbed their clothes, their shoes. We treated them like we came from war when we took them down. So that was not the white man, brothers. Sure, we could justify every problem we got because of the white man. We could say, take him away, and maybe our problems solved.
Yes.
No, but that's not true.
Exactly.
That's what we're reading. Those sins was in our people from way back when. That's why we're here today. God says, until you learn your lesson, you're going to stay in America.
The bottom line is the commandments is why these conditions exist. And I'm going to prove it with what the bishop just said. Just read real quick. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3 first.
Genesis 6, verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
The Most High said, I'm not letting you people live as long as you are living anymore because you're wicked. Now watch this. Drop down to verse 5. This is how wicked we was.
Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
That's how you Negroes are today. And back then when this was written, there was no white people. There was no Esau walking the earth. So y'all want to continue to blame them for all your problems and all the cause of everything. This was before the flood. The Most High said, I can't let these people walk around like this. They're going to destroy the entire planet, which is what we're bringing the earth to now because we're not keeping the commandments. We're bringing the earth to the brink of destruction. That's what's going to happen when all is said and done.
Exactly. Watch this. Mark 15. Mark chapter 15. You know how it's a badge of honor to go to jail in a black community?
Yes.
Yes. See, it's not a badge of honor to go to college or anything like that, but you go to jail, that's a badge of honor.
A party.
Exactly.
They show you in the video the car's waiting for you when you come out.
Exactly.
The man is giving you £1.
Exactly. Now also, when you see black people kill cops, for example, remember the brother that went crazy? I forgot his name. He killed a lot of cops in California, I believe it was. Forgot his name. That dude, remember, all on Facebook, they were cheering him, cheering. Watch what the Bible says, Mark 15. No, he was a cop. The dude was a cop, but he used to be a Navy SEAL. He was a cop. Mark 15, start at 7. Watch this.
Mark 15, verse 7. And there was one named
Barabbas,
which lay bound with them that had made insurrection with them, who had committed murder in the insurrection.
So this is a murderer standing before Pontius Pilate. He's asking the Israelites, who do you want me to set free? This innocent man Christ or this murderer? This guy was a known murderer. Let's see what black people said. Go ahead.
And the multitude crying aloud began to desire him to do as he had ever done unto them. But Pilate answered them, saying, will ye that I release unto you the King of the Jews? For he knew that the chief priests had delivered him for envy. But the chief priests moved the people that he should rather release Barabbas unto them. And Pilate answered and said again unto them, what will ye then that I shall do unto him whom he called the King of the Jews? And they cried out again, crucify him. Then Pilate said unto them, why? What evil hath he done? And they cried out the more exceedingly, crucify him. And so Pilate, willing to content the people, released Barabbas unto them and delivered Jesus when he had scourged him to be crucified.
So y'all see the mindset of black people? We'd rather release a murderer than the son of the living God. We wanted a murder. And the white man, the Pontius Pilate, the white man, said, what evil did this guy do? He did not. A Negro could not understand that and said, we don't give a damn. Release the murderer. The white man wasn't forcing them to say that. Do you men understand this? What we're reading is pertinent today.
Right now, that's going on. Right now. And y'all got to get that through your heads. The Son of the Most High walked the earth blameless. No record of no evil. And when he was brought before the white man's courtroom, the white man was trying to convince the black people he did nothing wrong. And the wicked, abominable, disgusting Negroes call for his death. It's the same thing today.
Now, watch this. Isaiah 5:20 is going to explain our people today.
Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil.
Do y'all hear what Isaiah is saying? The Spirit of Christ is speaking through him. Read what he says to the Israelites.
Woe unto them
Destruction unto them
that call evil good.
That call evil good. Barabbas is a good man. He's a murderer. Tyrone just came from jail. He was selling drugs. He's a good man.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And good evil.
And good evil. Jesus Christ, Yahushua, he wicked as hell. Crucify him. Crucify him. Crucify him.
Hey.
IUIC that teach the commandments, kill all them niggas.
Hey, listen.
They're evil. So now, we're almost done. Hosea 4 and 1. Hosea 4, 1 and 2. Because he got a Bible in dirty fringes. He's a man of God. The Pharisees had scriptures and borders of blue and fringes.
That's right.
Them dudes was the devil. Go ahead, come on.
Hosea 4 and 1.
Watch this.
Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel.
Uh-oh, he's talking to us.
For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land.
He got a problem with us. What's the problem, Lord? Come on.
Because there is no truth.
There's no truth amongst blacks and Latinos.
Nor mercy.
There's no mercy amongst blacks and Latinos, the Israelites.
Nor knowledge of God in the land.
And there's no knowledge of God in the land. Come on.
By swearing.
We are swearing people.
And lying.
We are a lying group of people.
And killing.
And we are murderers.
And stealing.
And we thieve and steal from one another.
And committing adultery.
I ain't got to speak on that. You know, that's how we do.
They break out.
What is that song? What Your Man Got to Do with Me? Somebody did a song like that.
Yes. And you're down with OPP?
Yes.
All that stuff. All the songs promoting adultery come from black people.
Exactly. Oh, and that's what we're reading about. You don't see white people doing songs calling their women, bitches and hoes. You don't find that.
Right.
You don't see Chinese people doing. You don't see Arabs doing it. You only see blacks and Latinos doing it. That's it. That's all you see. We're the only group that does that. They go, we want respect. Nobody don't respect us.
And they call it entertainment afterwards.
Exactly. Read verse 2 again.
By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood toucheth blood.
Right, we kill each other. Now, what we're reading in the Bible, what I want all y'all to see, this is not a campaign because people say, oh, you hate your own people. Paul said, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? When a white man puts their little articles up, we sit back and go, oh, that's just white stats. The Bible just said it. What we read in those articles, that's why I started there. Let the white man tell you. The white man said one thing. Now we go into the Bible and God says the same thing. And our people get angry. It's not the white man that we get angry at, so to speak. It's really the laws, the discipline of God. That's what we as a people hate and despise. So what we're reading, if you got a problem, your problem is with the word of God. You got to look beyond the white man, his little laws. Look at what God says. What does the Most High God say?
That's right. I'm going to read about what you just said. Can I read this?
Yeah,
or you
go
into something? Go to where we was at, 1 John chapter 3, read verse 12. But before you read that, I'm going to ask a question. Why is it that a lot of these camps hate IUIC? Anybody? Just give whoever a microphone. Why? Shalom.
Because we keep the laws.
Exactly. Because have we went after anybody? Have we even spoken evil of anyone? Have we ever attacked anybody? Have we ever put anybody's business? We haven't done anything to any of them. So why is it that they have so much hatred towards us? We're going to read about it. Read.
1 John 3 verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother, and wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil.
That's the answer. Because they all got sin in them. They got evil and wickedness in them. And he hated his brother. His brother didn't do anything to him. I'm speaking about Cain and Abel. What did Abel do against Cain? Nothing. So why in the world would Cain want to kill him? Because out of envy? Because Abel was about keeping the laws of the Most High. and it reflected upon his wicked brother Cain. That's what it is. The contrast, it reflected on the wickedness that his brother was doing.
Exactly. Solution now. Matthew 22. We're almost done. Matthew 22 and 36. I know it's a little late. I'm going to try and speed it up. Matthew 22. I'm doing a Yawasop here. Matthew 22, 36.
Matthew 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Here it comes.
This is the first and great commandment.
Now verse 39 is the point.
And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Notice what Christ said, because everybody says they keep that first great commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Christ comes back and says, well, the second greatest commandment is just like the first one. Read.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
You can't say you're obeying the first great one, but you're disobeying the second great one. You men understand that? Because the second is just like the first. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. What verse was that?
39.
Read 40.
Verse 40. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
If you brothers and sisters can obey those first two commandments, you're fulfilling all the law and the prophets. Everybody understand that? Now, where did Christ get that from? Love your neighbor as yourself, because that is not in the 10 commandments. I'm going to say it again. Where did Christ get that from? Because that is not in the 10 commandments. No. Gray shirt. I see a gray shirt arm right there.
Shalom. Leviticus 19:17.
Exactly. Let's get that. Christ, like I said, Christ didn't make up laws. His teachings was based upon the laws of old time. He didn't, I'm going to just make up a law. It sounds good. Want to hear it? Here it go. He didn't do that. He was bringing Israel back to the commandments we were given originally. Watch this. You got it?
Leviticus 19:17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
That is something black people can't obey. We have not been taught to do that. Sure, you can blame the white man all you want, brothers.
That's right.
Malcolm said, who taught you to hate your hair? Who taught you to hate the size of your nose? But guess what? At the end of the day, although you can blame the white man, it's up to every man and woman of Israel to obey that law. Love your neighbor as you love your. We have to apply that. In order for them to apply it, brothers, you must be teaching it. If you're not teaching it, why get on the black man and you're not teaching it? We have to teach them God's laws.
That was my point. What you just said there, the responsibility falls on us. That's the point I'm trying. That's the whole picture of all the stuff that I said. I wanted us to remember that it's all falls on us. Don't look for somebody else to fix our problems.
Leviticus 19:17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Meaning correct your neighbor.
And not suffer sin upon him.
And not allow him to sin. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Notice when it says thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. There's a hard precept. I'm seeing who's studying. There's a hard precept that Christ gave that says that, but he used hard words. Okay, let me hear you.
Matthew 5:38-39.
What does it say? Let me hear.
Ye have heard that it had been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil.
Right.
But whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also.
Exactly. All that's saying is don't get vengeance. Seek for vengeance against who, Officer Liam?
Against the children of thy people.
Like I said, Christ did not make stuff up. Everything he spoke and taught was based upon something from the law. You just got to sit down and find it. So we're giving it to you. We're feeding it to you so you don't have to do a whole lot of searching.
And let me explain why the bishop said that the Christian church twists that up. Because they believe that if someone comes to attack you, let him do whatever he wants to you. And that's not what the scriptures is saying. Okay? What it's saying is, let's say me and Deacon Malachi have a falling out. He's not in the right spirit now. With me turning the other cheek with him, he'll look, Deacon Asaph didn't meet my evil with evil. Now we can reconcile. Okay, you do that with someone who you know is keeping the commandments, because we may bump heads. We're both passionate men. We may get into an argument. He's standing strong on his beliefs, firm. He's not conveying his message to me, because with black people, there's a lot of miscommunication. Now we take things the wrong way, so he's jumping up in my face, ready to fight me. So what I do is I back down. I don't be like, yeah, nigga, come on, which is how black people are. I move away, he cools down, then he comes back, he's like, ASAP, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. That's what it meant by turn the other cheek. Don't meet evil with evil. Don't get a gun because he got a gun. Don't look for another insult because he got another insult. Does that not happen in your friendship relationships, in marriages? The wife says something to the husband looking for something back, and it turns into a divorce because y'all trying to match evil with evil. Right. Instead of somebody saying, you know what, let me calm down.
So now, we're almost done. I want to talk about the last type of death is genocide. I'm going to I'll kind of rush this. Look up the meaning of genocide. So far we talked about suicide. We talked about homicide. Now we're talking about genocide. There's a lot of sides out there. Come on, definition. Okay, genocide. The deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation. Okay. So now, genocide is the one that we often familiar with. Can we get the article from Wiki? Look up genocide conspiracy. A number of conspiracy theories have sprung up alleging that certain ethnic groups are secretly being subjected to a genocide. One belief is that a race war has already started but is being carried out by a covert means, often through government programs hiding some secret agenda. These ideas are the product of gigantic persecution complex, and the ones that gain the most media coverage are neo-fascists. Now, I'm not dealing with any conspiracy. I want to go down with actual things that have occurred. Okay, I'll start at black genocide. Black genocide. Conspiracy theorizing in the African American community usually takes the form of a hypothesized. Is I pronounced that right? Hypothesize? Is that a hypothesize? Okay, hypothesize. Y'all know I'm ignorant. Black genocide in which whites and sometimes Jews as well are covertly killing off the black population en masse. This often takes the form of tainted food or medical supplies intended to spread disease or induce sterility among the black population, a la Tuskegee syphilis experiment. I wanted to start there because that was a real experiment. That was not a conspiracy theory. That was real. Now, real conspiracies. While historical oppression of blacks has been at the heart of these conspiracy theories, two incidents of real conspiracies in particular in the United States seem to drive many of them. The first is the aforementioned Tuskegee experiment, in which hundreds of black men were unwittingly recruited into a secretive study of syphilis in return for free health care and food. They were already infected with syphilis but not told this, while being assured that the treatment would cure or prevent a made-up ailment the examiners diagnosed them with. Meanwhile, when penicillin, an actual proven cure for syphilis, came along, they were not given it. Nearly all of the men went on to die from the disease, but not before infecting others, including their spouses and children. The second was the discovery of COINTELPRO, an FBI program that infiltrated civil rights groups such as the NAACP, among others. So, with that, I want to deal with genocide there. We talked about COINTELPRO. We're going to come back to that. Go up. Notice it says, I saw AIDS somewhere. Okay, AIDS conspiracy theories and denialism. AIDS denialism and related conspiracies are probably one of the most popular components of the black genocide theory. The disproportionate effect that AIDS has had on the black population has led to conspiracy theories that the disease was introduced by the CIA, CDC, or some other infamous organization in an attempt to kill off blacks. This conspiracy theory had severe effects in Africa. There it often cross-pollinates with big pharma-related conspiracy theories, pharmaceutical. The most infamous case of this was South Africa's Thabo Ezekiel, how you say that? Mbeki's denial of the HIV/AIDS connection, which led to over 300,000 preventable deaths. 300,000 preventable deaths. They didn't have to die. They could have prevented it. Now, I remember growing up, they said the black woman was having sex with monkeys.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
The white folks were saying that.
Yes.
And then when that disease started hitting the gay white man population, then they started looking for cures and all of that stuff.
Right.
So now the next one says sterility. A few years ago, I think it was maybe 2 years, we went over sterility that occurred in North Carolina.
Yes.
Remember, they were making the black women sterile,
Yes.
so that they couldn't have no kids. So this is not a theory. These are actual things. Inducing sterility in black men is another common theme. One of the more well-known incidents of this idea gaining popular traction was the tropical fantasy
You know what?
scare.
I was going to mention that before this popped up because I remember that. That was
Talk
that
about
drink. It was around the 80s. I remember when that drink came out. I didn't realize they actually made it to the news, but it actually. I was in New York City when they spreaded this garbage, and they were saying that don't drink it because it make black men sterile.
Exactly.
And that scared a lot of people. And believe it or not, I never drank a bottle of that.
That's the point I want to make. It was a big soda. It was bigger than the average soda. It was only
It was
50
cheap,
cents.
and it was cheap.
It was cheap. It was cheap. So someone spread a rumor that that soda was making the black man sterile. The company went out of business. I saw a report of the owners speaking, and they was like there was nothing they could do to stop it because it spread like wildfire. So people stopped buying it. And if people saw you drinking the soda, they'll be like, yo, you ain't going to have no kids. Don't drink that. Y'all remember that? Okay?
Now, wait a minute, Digga Days. I'm going to be real quick. That goes to show you because who stopped drinking it?
Black people.
Black people. And what happened to the company?
Went out of business.
That shows you how powerful black dollars are.
Exactly.
Okay.
It says rumors and flies were passed out around claiming that the soft drink Tropical Fantasy contained a secret ingredient that would cause sterility in blacks and that the beverage was actually bottled by the Ku Klux Klan. Right, I remember that. Now, the one I was mentioning, they didn't put in here about the black women in North Carolina.
Right.
How they were sterilizing all of them. Now, the next one here is, and Puerto Rico, right. Now, this is not a theory either. This is real. Abortion as an alleged tool of black genocide is a conspiracy theory generally specific to pro-life activists as well as some black supremacists and black nationalist groups, including the Nation of Islam. This one works backward from the data showing that black women are more likely to have abortions than white women. Therefore, abortion is secretly a eugenics plan to eliminate the black population. No matter if the black population have progressively increased. We increase because God is with us, okay? Now, we saw the white woman, Margaret Sanger, who said that she created eugenics for the abortion to kill off black people. This probably has something to do with the fact that Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger endorsed eugenics, as did many American intellectuals at the time. Although she insisted that it be voluntary and not based on race, something omitted by most critics. In any case, the groups as it currently exists certainly no longer endorses these beliefs. Now, anti-Semitism. I want you. Now, I was going to ignore this one, but I noticed a term in there. Anti-Semitism. That means you're against Semites. They call so-called white Jews Semites. There are about 8 Semitic families. Black and Latinos in America, we are Shemitic. Chinese people are Shemitic. Japanese people are Shemitic. Arabs are Shemitic. They pull this lie because they know people don't know Bible history. Right. That's where we come in to disprove all their myths. But watch what it says. Under anti-Semitism, black supremacists such as Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam and the new Black Panther Party throw anti-Semitic conspiracies into the stew as well. This often involves ripping off ideas from older sects such as the Black Hebrew Israelites, as well as recycling ideas popular among neo-Nazis and show-horning Jews into the historical, whatever. But I want y'all to see this. The line that struck me is that where it says, this often involves ripping off ideas from older sects such as the Black Hebrew Israelites. So what the writer of this article is saying that Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam and the new Black Panther Party gets their information from where, brothers? The Israelites. That's what whoever put this up together realizes. But now, the Bible is not just, it is not a hate campaign. We just hate. There's reasons, justifications, there are laws in place. There are prophecies in place. And this is what the Israelites, we brothers, must bring forth. Exodus 1, 15 and 16.
Exodus 1, verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
So now that was not a theory. That was something that actually happened. Go to Matthew 2, 16 to 18.
Matthew chapter 2, verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
So the deaths of our children was not a theory. That was actually happening. Just like the abortions and all the things that we read about. What I touched on in that last article was not a theory as they posed it, but these were real incidents that have occurred. Now, we're almost done. Leviticus 26, 17. Right. Captain Isaac just said that the meaning of the word Ebola is Black River. That's not a coincidence. Leviticus 26, 17, please. Then we're gonna
Leviticus 26, 17. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies, that they that hate you shall reign over you.
See the prophecy? Those that hate you would rule over you. So don't think that this white man loves us. Like you were talking about how we have a paternal relationship with the white man. We see him as our father and mother. We want him to teach us. The Bible says those that hate you shall reign over you. That's what the Bible prophesies. So we cannot look for someone that hates us to teach our kids right, to medically take care of us properly. They're not designed to do that.
Thank you, Bishop. You just summed it all the mess that I was saying, he just summed it up right there. The case, I confused the hell out of y'all. The bishop just cleared it up. That's the point.
So what are we saying different from the other black leaders of the community? What we saying is we don't need the other nation's help. We don't need the white man's help. We have the solutions. We have what it takes to build ours. And a real black leader would say that. You would look at history and look at the dawn of time and say, look, we can do this ourselves. We don't need their help. We don't need the police department. We don't need their money. We have our own money. We've proven, statistics have shown we generate enough income to do everything ourselves. But the reason why we can't pull it together is because we hate the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. Okay? So the white man is in the mix to be our mother and our father, like children fighting. Okay? Because I've seen in movies where they'll say, oh, leave them alone. Let them kill each other. They're savages. They'll kill each other. And we prove that every single week by everything that the bishop brought out. Just pick up a newspaper. Walk down the block.
Exactly. Almost done. Habakkuk 3:14. Come on.
Habakkuk 3, verse 14. Thou didst strike through with his staves the head of his villages.
That's Christ returning, destroying the nations. Watch what it says.
They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me.
The nations and their armies came out as a whirlwind to scatter Christ when he returns. Go ahead.
Their rejoicing was as to devour the poor secretly.
Y'all see that? Their desire was to devour the poor secretly. I mean, kill the Israelites secretly. The government is not going to go on TV and say, yes, we give you the worst foods to poison you. Yes, we give you medicines that make you sick. They're not going to say that. They're not. So if you wait for them to say, they're not going to say, you have to go, what does the Bible say? The Bible says they're doing things to us secretly. Okay, Flint over in Flint, Michigan. The water's poisoned. All that. Oh, we made a mistake. There was no mistakes in the poisoning of that water. No mistakes.
Because it's been going on for years, and they've known about it. And now they want to blame the leaders. They want to blame the governor. They want to blame the people in position. All they do when something happens is find a fall guy.
Right.
Okay? And then give him a job someplace else and fire him. And you black people rejoice like they did something for you. Exactly. They did some great thing to fix a condition.
Exactly. Almost done. Psalms 50:21. I'm rushing. I just got two more. We finished.
Psalms 50, verse 21. These things hast thou done.
All the wickedness that Esau does. Go ahead.
And I kept silence.
God has kept silent for a long time. Go ahead.
Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself.
That's why they paint God as white, Christ is white, the Israelites white, the angels are so-called right. but they're really red. Go ahead, watch this.
But I will reprove thee.
God said, I will reprove you nations, particularly you Edomites.
And set them in
and
order.
Set the Israelites what?
In order.
Y'all see that word order? Go ahead.
Before thine eyes.
Meaning God is setting the true Israelites up in order before that. To set a people in order, there must be laws. There must be law and order. Is there? Them two words combined for a reason. That's what God is about. He said he is not the author of confusion. Okay, you understand that? So God setting us in order is more than just rank, file, and structure. It's involved with discipline and obeying God's laws with one another, with our women, with our sons, our daughters. That's setting us in order.
You can't have a society without discipline, rules, and some type of government. You cannot have you have a zoo. You have a bunch of stuff running all over the place. You gotta have laws. You gotta have some kind of system.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.